Thank you for joining me. I want to start by talking about two incredible young women named Annie and Andrea, who were accepted into their dream colleges, and then, after they arrived on campus, they were sexually assaulted. When they tried to seek help from their schools, they were blamed for their assaults by their school's administrators. They were blamed, not their attackers. A couple of years ago, Annie and Andrea walked into my office. They didn't have an appointment, they didn't have any connections on Capitol Hill, and they certainly didn't have an expensive lobbyist to lead them in. Annie and Andrea had heard about my work on fighting sexual assault in the military, and they wanted to help. The same crisis was unfolding on college campuses across the country. When they tried to report their rapes, they were not believed. They were retaliated against, and for them, justice was not possible. But instead of doing nothing, Annie and Andrea joined together and they created an organization called End Rape on Campus. They took their stories to college campus after college campus to be heard, to help other survivors like themselves, and to make a difference, to achieve justice, and to hold these schools accountable. Together, Annie and Andrea have helped many other sexual assault survivors file dozens of federal Title IX complaints for how their schools mishandled their sexual assault claims. These young women are changing lives, and they're helping their peers find justice. And along with many other survivors and advocates, they've convinced a growing group of colleges and universities to take this problem seriously. They have convinced the Department of Education to take the problem seriously. In fact, this group of survivors and advocates has been so successful in bringing attention to this issue that everyone from colleges to universities to government officials to business and not-for-profits to parents and their children are now thinking about how do we fight campus sexual violence. But there are still people who may not like the fact that women have come out of the shadows to discuss this epidemic and aren't comfortable with these young survivors speaking out about how they were betrayed by their schools. We should be very skeptical of anyone who says that women and schools have already gone too far in fighting sexual assault, or that a high percentage of these attackers and rapists are falsely accused. Schools all across the country will routinely withhold a diploma if a student doesn't pay his fees, or they'll kick a student out for cheating on a test. So where is the urgency when it comes to a violent crime of sexual assault? Some schools, like the SUNY system in New York, have shown extraordinary leadership. They've acknowledged that this is a problem on their campuses, and they're beginning to fight it and solve the problem. But most colleges are stuck in defense mode and won't even admit that they have a problem because they're afraid their application numbers will drop, or because they just don't take these cases seriously. Listen to our survivors. Listen to the horrible violent crimes that they had to endure. Listen to how their schools have betrayed them. We need to pass this bipartisan bill and finally start holding our schools accountable for how they deal with this crime. It's essential for the well-being and protection of all our students. A new federal law that schools began implementing just this school year, the Campus SAVE Act, requires important protections for both survivors and accused students that will help address the problem we're seeing on campus disciplinary proceedings. But we can't lose sight of the fact that the vast majority of campus sexual assaults, 80% of them, are never reported. We must do more to bring these crimes out of the shadows, and we must do more to create an environment where survivors feel safe coming forward to disclose that they've been assaulted. We need to give them access to a confidential advisor who can help them understand their options for reporting to law enforcement, for accessing support in medical care, and for reporting to their school. This problem is too serious to ignore. The Association of American Universities, whose members are the leading public and private research institutions in the United States, led a survey of more than 150,000 students across 27 universities. And they found out that on average, 1 in 5 women who took the survey experienced sexual assault while in college. A leading research institute, RTI International, led their own survey of 23,000 students across 9 colleges and universities, and they also found an average of 1 in 5 women who took the survey were sexually assaulted in college. People are realizing that our colleges and universities have a serious problem, yet only some schools are choosing to acknowledge it and to fight it, while others are still choosing to ignore it. So today I'm calling on Congress once again to pass our bipartisan bill, the Campus Accountability and Safety Act. We need to pass this bill so that every school can take this problem seriously. We need to make our colleges safe for all students, and we need to give our schools the resources and data they need to fight sexual assault on their campuses. Let's follow the example of Annie and Andrea. Let's learn from survivors and advocates across the country, and let's pass this bill.